Hello children, you are welcome to the mathematics segment of the program. It is indeed mathematics time, and that means it is time that we had some fun. I am Uncle Agbaje. Today in mathematics we will continue with our work on temperatures. I believe you had fun testing and guessing the temperatures of objects around you. Before we go into today's lesson, we would begin with a review of the correction to previous homework. You were asked to study these thermometers and measure the temperatures that is indicated on them. The temperatures that are indicated on them, and if you look at the first one, the answers are going to come up right about now. You see that the first one stops just on 20, and that is 20 degrees Celsius. I believe you got that right. Second one is also easy. It stops just on 100, and that is 100 degrees Celsius. The third one stops in between 40 and 50. So now you need to count. From 40, you count in twos. 40, 42, 44, and 46. And that is 46 degrees Celsius. Here, you have this one to the left of 0, so you count in twos backwards. That's from 0, -2, and -4. And that is -4 degrees Celsius. That is definitely a freezing temperature, if you remember what we did yesterday. And finally, this one. This one is between 70 and 80, so we need to count the twos after 70. 70, 72, 74, 76, and 78. And that is 78 degrees Celsius. I believe you had success working on this and you got all. And for this, I'm going to celebrate you with a loud cheer. Now, before we go into the lesson for the day, I would like for you to watch a short video. Listen attentively, and Uncle Agbaje will be right back.
Umar, where are you in a hurry to? I want to get to the pharmacy down the road before it closes. I need to buy a thermometer, so that I can finish filling the form from the hospital. I thought I saw one in the first aid box. Why do you need to buy another? The one in the box is in Celsius, and the doctor requested for my temperature in Fahrenheit. Oh, well, you do not need a new thermometer. You can convert that of the Celsius to Fahrenheit. Really, but how do I do that? Just tune into the Mathy Magicians segment on the program, The Classroom in Your Home, today to learn more on that. You bet I will.
That video was very funny for me. I mean, Umar wanted to go and buy a whole new thermometer when you can just convert your temperature in Celsius to Fahrenheit. So let's just look at the learning objectives for today. Our learning objectives will just be to learn how to convert temperatures from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So without much ado, let's go into it. Now, temperature is measured using the Celsius scale. We said that yesterday, and that Celsius scale is not written in full. Usually we write it as like this. This little knot that you see here means degree, and the C stands for Celsius. So together we pronounce it as degrees Celsius. So when you see a number before this, for example, you see 36, and you see this knot, and you see C after that, you pronounce it, you don't say 36 raised to power 0C, no, you say 36 degrees Celsius. We also measure temperature in Fahrenheit. I've told you to take note of that word because it might just come in the spelling bee class of Antiphony. Now, you have that knot and you have F, and that knot again stands for degree, and F means Fahrenheit. Now you see degrees Celsius, degrees Fahrenheit. Now, degrees Celsius, degrees Fahrenheit, are they the same thing? Well, let's see. If we study this diagram, it shows the temperature scales. On the left side, you have the Celsius. Can I get a zoom on this? On the left side, we have the Celsius, and on the right side, we have the Fahrenheit. Now you see that the numbers are not the same. Here we're starting from 0 and we're ending at 100. And here we're starting from 32 and ending at 212. That shows that the Celsius scale and the Fahrenheit scale are two different things. They are not the same. Let's move on. So you cannot take a number a temperature in Celsius and just remove the C and put F and say you have changed it to Fahrenheit. No. So one thing to note from the two scales now is that the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. We said that yesterday. But on the Fahrenheit scale, that 100 degrees Celsius is the same thing as 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, we also said yesterday that the freezing point of water is what? Do you remember? Is 0 degrees Celsius. That is when water becomes ice block. Now, on the Fahrenheit scale, that is not 0 degrees Fahrenheit, is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, let's see what is in the next slide. Now, on the Celsius scale, that is on this left side, 0 and 100 are 100 units apart. That is, when you say 100 minus 0 from here to here is just 100 units. Is it the same on the Fahrenheit scale? Let's see. On the Fahrenheit scale, the largest is 212 and the lowest is 32. When you subtract 32 from 212, you get 180. And that tells you that the Celsius scale has 100 divisions between 0 and 100, from the lowest to the highest there, from the boiling point and the freezing point of water. On the Fahrenheit scale, there are 180 units between the boiling point and the freezing point of water. So how do we now relate this? Let's go on. We now see that means that 100 degrees on the Celsius scale, 100 degrees or 100 units here, is the same as 180 units on the Fahrenheit scale, because difference between here is 180, difference between here and here is 100. So 100 degrees on the Celsius is 180 units on the Fahrenheit scale. And that is what you have here. And this is just the relationship between Celsius and Fahrenheit. 100 units of the Celsius is 180 units on the Fahrenheit scale. So if you forget, you can always redraw that diagram to always guide you. Put the boiling point and the freezing point of water on both sides, and you will always remember 100 to 180. Now, this is the relationship. But we can scale it down to the lowest term so that we can work with it and use that knowledge to find any other scale, any other temperature in Fahrenheit or Celsius that we want to find. So what we are going to do is that we're going to divide both sides by 100 so that we can have this one as 1 and see what we're going to have on the other side. So remember that this is an equation and this is the bridge. So whatever you do to the left, you have to do to the right. And that is why I've brought 100 here to divide the 100. And I've brought 100 here to divide the 180. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want this to become 1. So now let's divide. It's easy to divide this. All the zeros, we cancel the zeros. 2 zeros cancel 2 zeros here. Then on this side, only 1 0 we cancel 1 0. Do not cancel the 2 zeros. Now I have 1 divided by 1. I have 1 Celsius unit here. But if I consider 18 and 10, I see that 2 can go. So 2 goes in 10 5 times. 2 goes in 18 9 times. So what do I have? I have 1 Celsius unit is the same thing as 9 all over 5 Fahrenheit units. And that is exactly the relationship. 1 Celsius unit is 9 over 5 Fahrenheit units. So if you forget, my friend, begin from the top. 100 Celsius unit is the same thing as 180 Fahrenheit units. Then reduce them by yourself. You will not miss your way, my friend. So rewriting that, 1 Celsius unit is 9 over 5 Fahrenheit units. We can now use this to find other Fahrenheit units given the Celsius unit. Let's see. Look at what I have done here. I have multiplied the left side by 10. So I have to multiply the right side by 10. Why? Because I want to find how much will 10 Celsius units be. So 10 times 1 is 10. Now multiplying this by 5. I'm going to resolve these numbers here. I see that 5 goes here 1 and 5 goes here 2. So I can bring 10 times 1, which is 10. I bring it down 10 Celsius units. On the right side, I'm left with 9 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18. So 10 Celsius units now is 18 Fahrenheit units. Look at how I used my knowledge of the fact that 1 Celsius unit is 9 all over 5 Fahrenheit units. Look at how I used it to get for 10 Celsius units, because you're going to be doing that very, very soon. That's the formula for you. Take it down. You have 5 seconds. 1 Celsius unit, 1 degrees of the Celsius unit is 9 over 5 of the Fahrenheit unit. Then you had 32 at the end of the day. So let's look at some real examples now. Okay. Now imagine that you are Umar, that boy that wanted to go and buy a Fahrenheit thermometer because he thought it was not possible to convert. Now, if the temperature that he measured is 40 degrees Celsius, he now wants to change it to Fahrenheit. Now, he now has the tool to work with. He knows the relationship between Celsius and Fahrenheit. He knows what links them together. All he has to do is to apply that link, and he will get it. Let's see how we're going to do this. We must remember to start with the relationship. 1 Celsius unit is 9 all over 5 Fahrenheit units. When we finish, we will add 32. So now, because I want to find 40 Celsius units, I will just multiply 40 here and 40 here. It will be easy for me to get my 40 on the left side. And because I'm multiplying the left by 40, I have to multiply the right by 40. All I simply have to do now is to resolve this side, because 40 times 1 is 40 Celsius. So let's go. Now, 5 can go in 40 8 times. That is resolved. So I can now bring down my numbers here. 40 times 1, 40. Now 9 times 8 is 72 Fahrenheit units, but I still have to add 32. So now let's add 32. 72 plus 32 will give us 104 Fahrenheit. And that's exactly what 40 degrees Celsius is when you check the Fahrenheit scale. It's 104 degrees Celsius. I want us to go back and see that table. Let's go back and see that and see whether we can confirm that 40 degrees Celsius is 104 Fahrenheit units here. Okay, so you see, it's like magic, but it is really there. You must always remember to add 32 to get the correct answer. 40 degrees Celsius is 104 Fahrenheit units. Let's just take one last example, just to clear up any doubts or any gray areas that you might have. We're to convert 8.5 degrees Celsius to the Fahrenheit scale. So we will always begin with the relationship, what relates Celsius and Fahrenheit together. And that relationship is the same, always going to be the same. 1 Celsius unit is 9 all over 5 Fahrenheit unit. Then we must remember to add 32. Now, since we want to find 8.5 degrees Fahrenheit, what do you think we're going to use to multiply? We will use 8.5 to multiply. Good job, you, my friend. So using 8.5 to multiply on the left and on the right gives us the required equation that we need to solve. So now in this case, we just multiply 8.5 times 1. Anything multiplied by 1 will give you the number. So 8.5 times 1 is 8.5. But on this side, division like this is very simple. You just treat 8.5 as if it's a whole number without a decimal. When you get your answer, remember to put the decimal point by counting the number of digits after the decimal point. So in this case, I will say 5 goes here 1, 5 goes here 17. But there was 1 digit after the decimal point. So I'll make sure there is 1 digit after the decimal point. So that gives me 1.7. Now 9 times 17 is very easy. I subtract 2 and I get me 15. 15 and what? To make it up to 9? 15 and 3 to make it up to 9. Let's see. So 8.5 Celsius is 153. Now 15.3 degrees Fahrenheit. Then we must never forget to add 32 afterwards. So adding 32 to 15.3, what does that give us? That gives us 47.3 degrees Fahrenheit. I believe with all these examples, all gray areas that you might have would have been cleared. So I just want you to try your hands at the very simple one that I'm going to bring on screen right now. This should be easy for you, my friend, but I'll give you 1 minute. Begin. Eyes on me. Now I'm just going to walk you through the process. We'll write the relationship to begin with. 1 Celsius is the same thing as 9/5 of the Fahrenheit, not forgetting to add 32 after we're done to clean up everything. Now, since we want to find 35 degrees of the Celsius to Fahrenheit, we just multiply both sides by 35. So in this case, 35 times 1 is 35. This one is easy peasy. But on this side, we see that 5 can go in 35 7 times. So now 9 times 7 gives us 63. So 35 on the left, 63 on the right. We must not ever forget to add 32. And so adding 63 to 32, what do we get? We get 95 degrees of the Fahrenheit. I believe this is what you got, my friend, because this one is quite easy. And for that, I will give you a chair. Now, we have come to the end of the main lesson. I will give you some exercises to practice on your own. You have 30 seconds to copy this. Don't forget, today is Magic Tuesday, and Uncle Agbaje will be right back. Hello children, you're welcome to the Magic Tuesday segment where I show you little tips and tricks on how to navigate mathematics very, very easily. Last week we talked about how to multiply 9 by single digit numbers. Today we're going to do something quite interesting. Let's see what it's all about. We will learn an easy way to square numbers that end with 5. Numbers that end with 5 could be 15, could be 25, could be 35, could be 105. Now, to square a number means to multiply that number by itself just twice. Now, it's not going to be easy for you to put the multiplication table or the squares table of all numbers in your head. But Uncle Agbaje will teach you a trick that will help you to square numbers that end with 5 without even having to write anything down. Let's see how it goes. Let's say, for instance, we want to square 15, that is 15 times 15. And 15 is a number that ends with 5. You just take the 1, because you don't need the 5. 5 is the major focus digit. So bring down the 1 and multiply 1 with the next number after 1. And the next number after 1 is 2. Now, 1 times 2 is 2. So you take that 2 up. And you know you have to complete it with something. But do you know what it is? Is it 0? It's going to be 25. So 25 comes down. And this is just your answer. 15 times 15 is 225, my friend. You didn't even have to work out anything or do any serious work. You just have to do 1 times 2 in your head and put 25 at the end of it. Let's see another one of the same type. This is 25 times 25. So leave the 5 and bring the 2. 2 comes down. Down the digit after 2 is 3. So multiply 2 times 3 and you get 6. Now take that 6 up and complete it with 25. 625. That's your final answer, my friend. Let's see just another one. This one says 65 times 65. Now, on the surface of it, 65 times 65 is, wow, huge number. I can't do this. But you can. Just bring the 6. Leave the 5, bring the 6, and multiply 6 by the next number, which is 7. 6 times 7 is 42. Take it up, and you know what to do. Complete it with 25, and you get 4,225. Let's see something really, really big. 105 times 105. Now, can you do that? Well, the principle is still the same. Just bring the 10 and leave the 5. 10 and the next number, which is 11, will give you 110. You know, 11 times 1 is 11. Then put the 0, 110. Then you take that up, and as usual, just complete it with 25. You didn't even have to write anything down. All can just be done in your head. Isn't mathematics wonderful? That's it for the magic segment for today. I will now hand you over to Uncle Popo for the general studies lesson. Till I come your way next time, remain wonderful mathematicians.